Hello, everybody, and welcome to another day at life at the Waterhole. My name is Tayla McCurdy, and I will be your host, your naturalist, this voice of reason, hopefully, today. But if you have just joined us for the first time, a big welcome to all of you. This happens every single day at the same time. And you can, of course, ask us lots of questions. You can comment on the YouTube stream, or even better, use the question box on the WildEarth app. And we are starting with something fantastic, as I know you can all see on your screens. It is a spotted bush snake. And this camera that we're at the moment is in Djuma Private Game Reserve, which is situated in the Sabi Sand in South Africa. To ever found the snake, well done. We have people who work all over the world zooming the cameras, and obviously it's quite fun. But at some point we'll show you how wide the cameras really are. So to have found this is quite spectacular. I don't know if it maybe crawled over the lens and that got everybody else's attention. But isn't this awesome? It's a nice tree where the camera is placed. Looks out onto Tayla Dam, and with such a big tree, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's in a knobthorn. I have to try and remember now. They have quite fissured bark, so if the elephants have come around and lifted the bark up a bit, you can imagine all sorts of things can kind of go in there, or maybe woodpeckers have made little cavities into the tree, so great sort of spots. And then when, of course, you have a great height, look at that. Wasn't that amazing? Waking up, obviously opening its jaw. I don't know if snakes yawn like we as humans yawn, but I think it must be quite nice for them to open up their mouths and sort of stretch those muscles. Have you ever done that? It's quite nice to do that with your jaw. Now I'm, of course, doing it, and hopefully you're all doing it too. So I think it's just a big stretch its muscles. It didn't even. And then, of course, they did start flickering its tongue. There we go. Perhaps it's warming up enough now that it's able to start its day. There we go, starting to pick up. So I feel like although on your camera, the animals have come around a bit earlier than they did yesterday. You know what? It's so funny. We sit here and we're so lucky that we get to watch this, not the same things over and over, right? But we're at the same waterhole. We should be doing like our own little citizen science. Now, I'm by no means like I said, a biologist. So I have no idea how to do research. But I'm quite fascinated to see, like, what times are we seeing a lot of gatherings of animals, and how different does it change during the seasons? So I'm going to make little notes for myself, and it could be something that you do too. So I'm going to put here Donyo. I'm going to say it properly. My English accent comes out. And I should have done this in the first 2 days, but what is that? How crazy is this? I don't even know what the date is today. It's the 18th. Oh, it's my birthday in 10 days. I also forgot about that. 18th of August, 23. And we kind of, let's call it 10 o'clock. Let's just do 10 a.m. because we've seen quite a bit coming down. Do animals without fur or hair get sunburned? So elephants, let's go firstly, in like warthogs and rhinos, they have dark pigmentation, in a lot more melanin, sorry, what am I talking about, in their skin. So that sort of darker appearance definitely makes them less susceptible to a sunburn. But then, of course, we get hippos, but they've got a very thin skin, a very thin epidermis. So they can get burned quite easily, but they've got some adaptations. But let's talk about elephants, seeing as though we've got them here. You can see the elephant cow in the middle. She's slurping up water and she's chucking it all over herself. There'll be a lot of mud in there too. So that's a layer that they can add as protection. But elephants aren't particularly susceptible to sunburn. Again, that thick skin definitely helps prevent that. But adding a layer of mud for elephants is not necessarily going to stop, it's not, the purpose is not really to stop sunburn, but it's actually to help them keep cool. When animals aren't able to sweat, that becomes problematic, and they need to have alternative ways to cool themselves down. So elephants aren't able to do that. So they do this: chuck water all over themselves and cover themselves in mud. And sometimes we even get to see them swimming, which is awesome. Actually, on this camera, we've seen elephants swimming over the years multiple times, more times than I think we could count. I probably can't count to such a high number. And the little one, though, demonstrating. Oh, there we go. I was hoping to see this yesterday, and now we get it today. Even better. And George, you've asked if elephants live in groups or on their own. Both, really, is the answer to that, but we'll dive in a bit deeper. So, typically, with family groups of elephants, so the females and their offspring, they'll stick together and move around, and the young, and as the bulls start to get a bit too boisterous within the herds, they get sort of ushered on out. And again, it's not that they necessarily like force the young elephants out, but it becomes particularly unpleasant for them. And earlier in the show, we actually saw an example of this where a cow, a member of the herd, actually chased this young bull into the water. So that starts to happen more frequently. They really force themselves onto the youngsters and push them around, again, trying to assert their dominance. And the adults don't take too kindly to that. So they move off. Then they might find some other elephants in a similar position, some bulls, and follow them around. And then you even get these big, older bulls that will have these youngsters kind of following them around like their little fan club. But typically, really old elephants, like dominant bulls, they spend a lot of their time on the move and are quite, they can be quite nomadic, but they also have their favorite spots. Right. We started off strong this morning with a beautiful spotted bush snake, but and then it went a little bit quiet, but we had all sorts of other wonderful animals in between, which was great. And I hope that you all enjoyed it. And of course, look at all the bird life here. But we're going to catch up, I think, with the towel camera tomorrow, the same time, same place, and have a look and do a little bit more birding because it's starting to get quite good with a spoonbill. We've got the shell ducks. I'm sure those are teals at the back. I just can't exactly see which ones they are, and all sorts of other things too. Lots to add and lots to talk about. But thank you so much for, of course, joining and keeping me company at the waterholes. Remember to tune in for the Sunset Safari later today.